Hi, and welcome to my videos to help you in your calligraphy journey. This video is focused on copperplate calligraphy and writing copperplate in real time. So what I do on this series is selecting a quote that I have not written before and writing it in real time and sharing with you the thoughts that are coming to my head while I'm writing the quote. When we write something for the first time, it's always going to be a challenge of resolving a few things, like what type of ligatures we have between pairs of words, what type of ratio we choose, what type of contrast we choose, what's the length of the text, and what's the size of the page that we are working with. Do we have constraints? Do we have a specific space to work within? Do we have a specific size for the writing? So in this case, of course, there are a lot less parameters because it's purely, I'm working with an A4 paper and just writing the quote and thinking about the possibilities based on the combinations of letters I have given myself with. So let's start. I'm using walnut ink. I'm using Hunt 101 and an oblique pen holder, and I'm normally using 1 or 2 fine liners to make notes along the way. On this series, there is a lot more writing and a lot less talking. So you can see the speed of my hand, the movements I'm doing in real time, and the scratch of the nib against the paper, which is part of Copperplate Calligraphy. So let's go. If you need blank guidelines to work with, I have this set currently, which I'm using. Is really old, but still working perfectly. It's a 6mm grid, and you can go on my Instagram account and follow the link on my bio. And you can, after subscribing to my email newsletters, you'll be able to, well, you'll receive an automatic email with a link for you to download the guides. If you don't see the email coming to your inbox, please check your spam or junk folder. Excellent. Okay, so the sentence for today is this. Creativity lives in paradox. Serious art is born from serious play. This quote is by Julia Cameron from the book The Artist's Way, and I'm gonna start writing the quote. So I'm gonna be using the classic ratio of copperplate, which is 2 units, 1 and 2 units. You can check more things about ratios as part of my video with the same name, part of the playlist, Copperplate Variations. Okay, let's go. So the first word is creativity, and I'll start this word with capital C. So let's start. I'm going to protect the page from my own hand, so I always use folded paper underneath. Okay. Capital C and creativity. My biggest challenge at the moment, apart from, of course, getting the writing, it's not making a spelling mistake, because with longer words, it's very easy that you lose focus and start thinking in something else, like in how hungry you are, what's the next thing to do after this video, and so forth. I can see that my paper now is bleeding. I didn't say this, but I'm currently using regular 100% copy paper, And I can see that here is slightly bleeding, which is interesting because this has never happened normally with other types of paper. So that's going to be a good, interesting thing, and see if the whole thing it's going to be bleeding or only a section, because maybe I used the paper previously and the oils of my hand were transferred to the paper. So I'm going to keep on going anyway. Creativity lives. So the next word. You can see the movement of my hand and how I'm creating the words at the real speed. I can see everything is starting to bleed, so probably it's going to happen in every other letter that I write. Now, next, in paradox. So I'm going to move the paper a little bit, position. Now, the first time I write anything, I'm just paying attention to a few things, such as how many ascenders and descenders I have on my quote. What is the length of the entire quote? How can I break the quote in 2, 3, or 4 lines, depending on the length of the quote? What are the combinations of letters? Do I have many letters that are the same, repeated again and again and again? So I can create variations to make it a lot more dynamic and a lot less mechanic. Now, in here, I have a colon, so I'm going to use it here. And now I'm going to change lines. So I decided that because it's a good time, is the quote is divided in this way. So I'm going to go to the next line. I'm going to follow the regular ratio. So I'm going to go to the next grid and mark the X height. And keep on going in here like that. Okay, so the next part of the quote is the word serious. So let me position the paper. I'm not super worried about things like the paper is bleeding at the moment because, as I mentioned, this is the first time I'm writing the quote. So the first time is not the last time. The first time is for assess and understand the characteristics of the message I need to letter, and then I will take more decisions. So if I made a spelling mistake, I'm going to keep on going as well. So serious art. Is born. And now I have the option in here of creating a third line or keep on going, because I can see how the structure grammatically, it's allowing me to decide this. Serious art is born, and the second part of this phrase is from serious play. So in here, I've decided I'm gonna keep on going, but I can see how grammatically I could easily turn this into 3 lines if I wanted to. So I'll keep on going. Is born from, move the paper. Serious play. Okay, the last one. Play. Okay, interesting enough, you can see how the second line is not bleeding anymore. And I'm pretty confident that this area has been bleeding because, as I mentioned, I have used the paper upside down. So the other half of the paper is being written, and the oils coming from my skin have been transferred to the paper in this section because the second one is reacting well. Walnut ink normally reacts well to like 99.9% different types of paper. Okay, so this is the quote. You can see what we have in here. So now if I look at the message, I can say we have very little ascenders and descenders in the whole sentence, only an F that occupies most of the space, but everything else is pretty much inside the X height. If I was going to do this creating hierarchies, creating keywords that have more importance than the other keywords, probably I'm going to be talking about creativity, serious, and play, or creativity, art, and play. And I will emphasize these keywords maybe larger, and I will reduce the size of the other things. There are many, many solutions we can use in here. It all depends of the context and our intention, really. Okay, so I hope this is very helpful. You can see that things that are very repetitive in here, I can say I have several R's, I have several V's, I have a very nice X in here, which I can play with if I wanted to as well, because it's at the end of this line. So I could do, if I want something a little bit more ornamental, that's also an option. Same as the letter Y, that can become something like a little bit ornamental because it's the end of the quote. Yeah, that's good. Excellent. So let me know if this is helpful. See you next video.